It's a deep human need. You cannot escape it. If you try not to have sublime experiences in life, you're going to go for the false sublime because you need it in some way. There's no escaping this law. It is a law. One of the readers or listeners out there want to know what the difference is between the sublime and the false sublime. And the real answer is you have to wait like 2 years for the book to come out where I will really spell it out. But I'll give you a general idea. So the idea of the sublime is that we live in this world where there's a kind of a limiting circle to our behavior, to our experience of life. And that circle is the conventions of how we're supposed to think and how we're supposed to behave of the particular culture that we live in at the moment. These are experiences that are conventional, that we're supposed to have. These are thoughts that you're not supposed to have. These are ideas that aren't good for you, etc., etc. This is the limit that you're supposed to stay in to be a good human being in the 21st century. Okay? And the sublime are thoughts, experiences, ideas that go outside the limits of what we are expected of what we're supposed to do. Because going outside of limits is extremely important. It's extremely human. It gives us a sense of what is transgressive, of what is different, of what is new, of what is surprising. It excites us. It reignites that youthful feeling. You remember when you were 4 or 5 years old, maybe you do or maybe you don't, about how everything in life excited you and how the world seemed really amazing. All these fantastic things you wanted to learn. You were a sponge. You wanted to soak it up. The sublime kind of re-triggers that youthful feeling where the world seems marvelous. It seems exciting. There seems to be new things that will surprise you. And in my book, The Law of the Sublime, I have 12 different aspects, different kinds of experiences that you could have. Some of them in relation to the universe that we live in. Some of them in relation to life and animals. Some of it in relation to your childhood, as I mentioned. Some of it in relation to history and the past, to love, etc., etc., etc. Going past that limit is deeply exciting. It's thrilling. It goes, wow, this is a new experience. This is a new thought. And the ultimate sublime experience is to have a touch of death itself. Death is the ultimate limit that we're never supposed to understand. Like I did a near-death experience, which is sort of the inspiration for the book. It's like, whoa, I felt the touch of death. I felt its cold little fingers on my body, and it scared the hell out of me. I can sense that I still feel it in my body. Wow, death is very real. It's going to happen any day now. It could have happened to me. I was very lucky to survive. Well, isn't it amazing to just be alive right now? The fact that it could have been taken away, that I'm actually aware and conscious. That is what the sublime does for you. And I make the point in the book, it's a deep, deep human need. It goes back hundreds of thousands of years. The need stems from the fact that we are aware of our own mortality, and we want to deal with it, and we want to transcend that anxiety and that fear. So my point in the book is, it's a deep human need. You cannot escape it. It is a law. If you try to escape it, if you try not to have sublime experiences in life, you're going to go for the false sublime because you need it in some way. There's no escaping this law. It is a law, goddammit. So if you're either going for the real one, or if you can't, if you're afraid of it, you go for the false one. What are the false ones? Addictions, joining some kind of cause that makes you angry, that fills you with like, you get to lose yourself in some ugly cause with people, kind of mob violence or mob action, etc., etc. It's kind of like pornography and addictions and eating a lot of foods or alcohol or drugs. It gives you a sense of the sublime. You take a drug, it gives you a sense of something larger, but then it weakens you. It makes you, I need it again. And then you take it again, and it's no longer a sublime feeling. It's no longer new and exciting and experience. Wow, I never realized this before about life. No, I gotta have this again. I gotta do this again. More and more and more. Addiction, addiction, addiction. Those are examples of the false sublime. Joining a cause, joining a cult. Now, I'm not saying all causes are bad. There's justice in life, and there's social movements where you're actually creating something beautiful and positive. That can be a sublime experience. And some kinds of revolutions in history can be incredibly sublime. So if I was living in Iran right now, and I was part of all the fomenting and agitation going on in the streets, and I was involved in that, which I wish I were, but I don't live in Iran. I don't wish it because it's horrifying, but if I were there, it's a sublime feeling. You're joining with other people. You're creating a new world. So causes can be sublime. But a false sublime is where I just lose myself and I just want to be angry and I want to hurt people. I want to be violent, racist kind of things, etc., etc. Mob violence. That is a false sublime. Cults and some spiritual beliefs where you don't have to think about yourself, but you can kind of just sort of lose yourself in something that isn't positive, that becomes kind of an addiction that you have, that you crave. Those are all examples of the false sublime. So the differentiation is, and I've said this in earlier videos, between the internal and the external. Real sublime affects you inside. It changes how you are from the inside out. What the great psychologist Abraham Maslow called peak experience. You have it, and you're never the same again. It alters how you think, how you feel. The false sublime is external. It happens on the outside. It doesn't change you from within. In fact, it makes you addicted to something over and over and over again. It's just simply getting out there and having action for no purpose, etc. It's not going beyond those limits. It gives you the illusion of it, which is sort of what alcohol or drugs can do. I'll give you a better definition when I write the book because I am generally more eloquent in writing than I am in speaking. But that, I hope, gives you a sense of what I mean between the real and the false sublime.